Okay, what you're looking at there is NC57, one of my favorite radios. I got it out, and I was tuning around last night, and I'm trying to find my way in life as far as new ideas, new things, and I want to show you some what I consider pretty good movies. I talked in the past, the other last video, about having 100 new videos. I've been collecting videos for the last few years, and I was giving them to a girl at the corner. She was supposed to watch it, pass it around, and then give it back to me. She hoarded them. There was something wrong with her mentally. She was a drug addict. She's dead. And I didn't get the movies back. She never passed them around. She was bothering me for an HDMI cable. Uh, it was just stupid. You deal with stupid people, that's what you get. But one of my all-time favorite, you can go on YouTube and look at some of the scenes. Office Space. This is I won't say a low budget movie, but if you've ever worked in a company in cubicles, which I did, even though I repaired electronic stuff, we were in the exact same cubicles as what's in here. That type of, and I had to go out of one cubicle to do one test, and then to another cubicle. It was stupid. This movie points out how stupid a company can be. Now, one of the all-time, you've probably seen it, is The Truman Show. This is really weird, right? Truman Show. I know you've seen it. These are what I consider classics. When you're at a yard sale and you see one of these. Now, I got 100 videos from a guy. He has Star Wars, the newer ones. Even Shaft is the newer version. Remakes are garbage. This is an original show, video. This one will make you think. It's really weird. All right. Now, this is just an entertainment. It was something, I was at a yard sale, and someone else bought it. I got it real cheap, so I bought it, and it was interesting. It was pretty. It's all the things in the museum come to life at night. There's all these rules and stuff. Interesting, fun. You have to let your mind accept some of the crap. All right. Now, another one is Donnie Darko. If you're a real deep thinker, um, this thing it's got it for you. All right. What do I mean by got it? It's time time shifting. You got to read online the explanation of the movie, or in here, I believe there's a little booklet built into this that you can read, and it explains what he's going through. All right. It's strange. It's for the thinker. Back home, the old lady next door read the novel, and I just happened to mention Donnie Darko to her, and she says she read the book. She says it really makes you think. If you get into it, if you don't get into it, it's not the type of movie that jumps out at you. You have to really think about it. Now, I was at the Goodwill, and I was asking a guy about a movie, and movies in general, and he picked this up and handed to me. He says, "This is a really good movie. Uh, if you can accept certain things, all right." So I said, "Well, I'll give it a try." It was $3, so you can see I think it says $2.99 on it. It was Goodwill. And I brought it home, and I realized I had seen part of it on television. And it's one of those things when you see part of it on television, and then you're like, I wonder what the rest of the movie was like. Well, the person suggested it's a good movie. Uh, I won't mention any of it because it'll ruin it for you. You can go on YouTube and look at a couple scenes from it and get an idea what the movie is. All right, same with Donnie Darko. Any of them that I showed you, there's scenes on YouTube, and I think you can watch the movie from YouTube in some cases. Now, what I want to talk to you about is I noticed television was getting crappier. So I'm digging. All right, so the last two TV shows with ratings, I wasn't crazy. I was away for a while, and I say that I was working on, like the radio in front of you. I have three of them, recapping them, realigning them, repairing them. I have a whole room full of radios. So from television, I was away for a while. And then I come back and I start noticing some nights I would put the TV on. I'm like, this really sucks. All right. So the last two shows that had ratings was How I Met Your Mother and The Big Bang Theory. They were the last two that, and both went into syndication. Now, what's on television now? Absolute crap. They have no ratings. The neighborhood, one of my neighbors was mentioning that. I said they're just keeping that on so they'll have enough years for syndication. That's all that's going on. I told you about Two Broke Girls that had ratings. They were trying to get that off the air because it was too it was too it was too crude. Let's put it that way. And there were it's a lot of TV shows that I liked. People wanted it pulled off, but what they were realizing was if they didn't keep the plots and stuff moving forward and more realistic in life, nobody wants to watch it. Like I don't think Night Court stayed on. I think they canceled it. The new Night Court. And then I was watching Happy's Place with Reba McEntire, whatever her name is. I watched one episode and I'm like, this is 1960s lame television. So what I suspected of happening in my mind, it's only in my mind. I went reading, and yes, the television shows are crappier. And then there's guys that say, look, the streaming stuff is mindless. It's made so you can watch it and be on your cell phone at the same time. And they were explaining how the scripts are written a certain way. I got into it yesterday, just like, is it me? What? So then if you go looking on YouTube, you'll find people say, why are we like this? Why are we like that? Okay. So they explain that people in the United States are on their cell phone 4 hours of the day, and it's doing damage. Now, I'm on the computer, death scrolling about 4 hours a day. So I've been trying to cut back on that and come up with a replacement. And I walk around, I talk to people, and I say, what do you do for your free time? And they just stare at me. They're NPCs. I told you about that. The Unreal Engine for the game. The guy goes down inside. He's not playing the game. He's just going down in there and talking to the people that just walk around in the game. And there's people that their day is just such a routine that they don't think about anything new. So if you see the guy doing the NPCs, they'll like, I'm busy, I can't talk. I get that when I'm out walking. I'll say hi to someone. I don't have time to talk, right? NPC. And then there's people that realize that we really mess society up. It's really messed up. The politics is so crazy. I'm trying not to go into the politics, but it's messed up real bad right now. But between people and people that they're caught in these loops, and the people that do drugs, and the people are dying between 22 and 46. There's a lot of people just dying. And I met a kid the other day, and I was talking to him, and he said a lot of his friends are dead already. And he's just come out of high school, and he's like, no, they're just not transitioning. They're not transitioning to adulthood. And I'm like, holy crap, But I just realized how many movies I have in the other room stacked, and none of them are a copy or a double of what that guy gave me. The dead guy, his taste was so totally different. And when I go to a yard sale or Goodwill, I look for the classics, and I would consider this a classic as far as television. Donnie Darko, if you like it, you'll really like it. I mean, and this is just entertainment, right? And then the Truman Show. Everybody was talking about that. You feel like in your life you are in a show because it's so screwed up. And in this thing, this is funny. I mean, I bought this. Uh, I watched anyway. I bought it. I had it once. Uh, that girl at the corner that's got all my. She's dead. Her father, who broke his hip because he was drunk. If the videos are still in the house, that there's a copy of Office Space. There's also a copy of a lot of Tom Hanks stuff, and yeah, she was going to loan them to this other girl, and then she changed her mind. That's not what the deal was. Here's the movie, pass it around to your friends, and give it back to me. I never got any of them back, and they're classics. So back to you go to a yard sale, and you look at all the movies the person's selling, and certain ones stick out. You're like, that was a really good movie. So for $1, you buy it because some movies you can watch more than once. I have Big. I found Big again. I have some really, they're classics. And you can watch them a second and third time. And I always tell you, of all the TV shows that I've ever watched, Northern Exposure is the most quirkiest, fun. I bought the box set. Now, I bought the box set for Monk. Monk is good when you see it each episode a week apart from each other. When you have the box set and you watch 2 or 3 episodes in a row, you realize it's the same format. It doesn't. Columbo is like that too. You think it's a great TV show, but when you watch it too, you're like, he's doing the same act every week. As so's Monk, so's Columbo, so's The Mentalist, and what it is we have too much. There was this Mennonite woman. She was splitting plants, repotting them, and selling them at the yard sale. And she says the real problem is we have too much, and you expect more and more and more, better and better and better. And a lot of the movies, she doesn't watch movies, but it applies. Where in other words, when you have too much, you get bored very easily. So these other guys on YouTube are saying what you have to do is you have to go through the boredom, the chemicals in your brain and all that. And then when you go back to something, you'll find it more interesting again, and maybe not. But yeah, I go to the yard sales, and then even the Goodwill. They it looked like they were getting they just wiped that section out. And then there's a place called Just Press Play. I went there when they first opened up. The lines were too long. Had table after table of movies. So I went back there last week, and I'm talking to the kid. He goes, "Oh," he says, "upstairs." He says, "We just carry Blu-rays now." He says, "There's no profit in reselling video movies. You know, you figure you buy a video movie from somebody for $1 and resell for $3. That's not enough. That is profit margin. You're marking it up 3 times, but it really isn't in these kind of stores in this area. The kind of rent they sell, they really have to. They have to resell games. People bring their Nintendo games in. They make them an offer. They sell it, and then they resell it to the public. So Just Press Play. You can go in there and get all your old games for old Nintendos and Xboxes and things like that. But it's all the same thing. It's free time stuff. And I kept telling you, I keep trying to find a new hobby. And it comes down to I like movies. And I like long walks and meeting people. And the radios, I just got too many of them. They're all the same. This is an RCA patent. Most of the radios that came out between 1937 and 1954 are the same circuit, RCA circuit. A lot of the clock table radios that people are repairing, it's basically the same circuit. It's an All-American 5, and there's several companies that were making them, but I believe it was originally an RCA patent. They come up with the All-American 5 radio. And these people, Shango, he's fixing stuff, and you're like, well, how can he fix it? Like he knows, well, that's because it's the same circuit. The values are slightly different, but it's the same circuit. And I spent weeks of just thinking about a new hobby. and I have to replace it. Now I'm doing the movie thing, and didn't realize that television was dropping like a rock. See, now when you turn on TV, you'll see like a sporting event, a racing event, sporting racing. There's another one. Anyway, game shows. A lot of networks have become just game shows because they're they're cheap to produce, and you can just kill it and bring in another one. There's only like one actor, the host. So when you do a sitcom, what happens is you got all these people that don't want it too raunchy, so nobody wants to watch it. Nobody and MASH is hanging in there. It's on one of the sub channels on GAL out here, WGAL, and people watch MASH because it's nostalgic. You're sitting there, and these characters, Hot Lips died, most of them are dead, and you're sitting there, and part of your mind is convincing you that you're back there watching it when you were younger, and you're not. And see, I overthink everything, and it ruins a lot of things. But it's so funny. I'm giving movies, the best ones too, man, to a girl. Hey, I'm gonna watch it. She never watched any of them. And then I bumped into a video. Remember, I keep telling you, people do the talk, but they never start the project. They never finish the project. Okay, that's a sickness that's in our society now. People death scroll like I do. They look at projects and they think heavily about building something or doing something. And the endorphins on the brain are firing. And you're getting the pleasure of doing something without actually doing it. It's the same as sports. You're watching a guy, he throws the ball downfield, and the guy catches it. And he's on your team. You call it your team. They don't know who the hell you are. And you get adrenaline rush. You experience what the guy that caught the ball experiences, but you're not playing the game. And they explain that people that buy the parts for stuff and they never build it. And I got stuck with those people. And then they would want me to build it. And oh my God, it was a nightmare. I thought if I designed stuff and put the plans out, that there would, I don't know, did I expect them to beat my door down? No, but I didn't get what I expected. In the beginning, the builders showed up. These guys, they were popping out CNC machines. Email me, can I change this a little bit? And they knew not to ask me, can I make it bigger? They didn't do their first G code yet. They had no idea what they were going to make with it. But they know they needed it bigger. See, this is the grandioseness of people, the ego. And then when they finish the machine, they can't figure out how to do the software. But they want the machine bigger. And I used to put right on the pages, don't ask me about that. Well, why can't I build it bigger? Look, jerky, you're never going to build a machine. First of all, you never bought the plans from me. You're never going to build a machine. You're never going to figure out. You just know after a while, these people, they're delusional. And it took a while to realize they're the ones that email a lot. And that's what they do. They email and play make-believe. And then they get you involved. And each email takes 20 minutes to answer. And it builds up in a day. You can get 10 of those a day. Do the math. Make-believe people that talk about make-believe things. And I used to go to my mother's relatives' parties. And you want to hear these people with a few drinks in them. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I told you my father was going to walk across the country. Oh, no, I'm walking across the country. You'll see. When he retired, he started walking a loop in town, about a mile. And he says, it's really hard. You're going to walk across the country. That's the young man's dream. And then the houseboat. He was going to rent a houseboat. And he never did that. I had to listen to this crap. And then that's why I get aggravated myself, because people close to me were doing this to me. Meanwhile, I was doing stuff. And I told you that one wacky engineer kept coming over to my house, and I have all these CNC machines in the cellar. I think I had up to 7 or 8 or more all around the cellar. and they all were operational. And I have one running. It's cutting a circuit board out. He's watching it. And he turns to me, "Do you have a set of calipers?" What a jerky question. See, he wanted to ask a question, but he didn't know what to ask. He couldn't believe what he was seeing because all his things were up in his head. And that's what I realized about people. And I got burned. I get burned by people here because when they're talking to you, they sound so sincere. But yeah, the girl was supposed to pass the movies around, and then I was going to form the little video club I had like at work, pass them around, and return them to me, and then I'll put more out there. And she kept a bunch of them. Oh, they're mine. I'm keeping them. What a whack job. Yeah. Um, she got constipated, went in the hospital, started having heart attacks. There were drugs involved. The guy, the stepfather she lived with, or adopted father, he just broke his hip going to get his car. Police brought him home because he was inebriated, and they let him park his car, and they didn't arrest him. They brought him home. As soon as they left, he went back out, and then fell and broke his hip. See, the story everybody around him tells, and then you say, why was he going back for his car if they just brought him home? Yeah, like I don't know that one, that answer. I had a friend that was a cop in New Jersey, and he would take the keys from the person, and they parked the car, and he says, I don't want to see that car move. Tomorrow you come up to the police station and get the keys back from me. That's what he was doing. Well, this was different. Now, I don't know if they took the keys from him and he had another set of keys and he went back drunk and fell and broke his hip. And his adopted daughter is the one that took all the DVDs from me and never passed them around, never watched them. Yeah, I'm sort of catching on to what people are all about, but I'm still too naive. But I just want to tell you, television has changed, and you probably knew that. See, I was away for a while, and when I say away for a while, I was buying radios, recapping them, recalibrating them, and playing with them for a while, and then doing videos about them. And then when I come back to television, it changed. Everything does change, but I went looking at the statistics, and The Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother were the only two shows pulling the ratings. And then Young Sheldon, I don't know about that. I did watch that till that finished up. And then the spinoff from that was the Georgie and the woman. I watched one episode of that. That wasn't worth watching. And Young Sheldon was still sort of funny because I had seen The Big Bang, and it just, I watched it to see it to the end. And I still watch The Big Bang at night. It's on a little bit. I'll watch parts of it, but some of the episodes are quite funny, and some of them aren't. As they were planning for the weddings, not funny. That's what happens to all shows. Mad About You, when they had the baby, nope, nobody want to watch it after that. Paul Reiser and what's her name? Anyway, I did watch a lot of television, and then little by little, I started weaning myself from television. But then I got this addiction to the internet, of scrolling around and finding out that people are having the same thoughts as I did. It's like, what happened to the fun? What happened? Well, you keep raising your level of fun because you're overwhelming yourself with different stimuli. And then what happens? It's like a drug addict. You need more and more and more. And then television's not going to give it to you because they don't want anything crude on there. They don't want, Seinfeld had a way of saying something crude and basically suggesting something. It's like Jerry comes out of the anesthesia, and the nurse seem like she's buttoning up. That show was really well done, and the people here do not like Seinfeld because you have to think too much, and that's what I'm up against. And I'm going to watch these movies, and then finally, I'm not giving them back. I'm keeping those, whack job. I think that's it. All right, that's it.